Hey guys, YouTube100 here. Alright, now here I am with another Muppet movie review. And now here I am with a review for Muppets Take Manhattan. So, yeah, once again, this is a pretty good Muppet movie right here. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is definitely once again, a much different take for a Muppet film than The Great Muppet Caper was, and of course, the original Muppet movie. And this one seems to have also a pretty different tone than the previous two Muppet films did. Because while this one, it does still have a fair share of the Muppet style humor to it, there really isn't as much as there was before. This one really does have a much different tone and really is just kind of have its share of moments that really are don't really have that style of humor that the two previous films did, and plus, the humor really just seems to be very cut down in this. Where because this film really also does have another part of it that really just it's seems to it really does have more of the some more sad moments in it, because of course this film does have what maybe probably the saddest Muppet moment ever, which is of course the scene where they all go their separate ways and they say goodbye. I mean, yeah, Nostalgia Critic put that moment in his top 11 saddest nostalgic moments. So yeah, it definitely does have the sad moment like that. Yeah, and of course in this film, Big Bird, not Big Bird. What am I saying Big Bird for? Kermit ends up suffering amnesia in an accident. So yeah, yeah. So yeah, stuff like that happens to Kermit in this film, and of course what the premise of this film is of course how the Muppets have a theater performance that they had that they put on when they graduated college. And so, yeah, and then in this film, it's suggested to them to put the show on Broadway. And then, yeah, so that's pretty much what the main premise of this film is. Just how it's really focused mostly on Kermit, because yeah, like I said, the Muppets really do part ways early on in this film, and so. Well, yeah, it's really Kermit mostly being on his own, and he just is just very he yeah, Kermit's really objected to really get his show to be put on Broadway. Yeah, and that's really what he's trying to do throughout this film, is just make it an objective of his to really get the show on Broadway. So yeah, if he just is going trying to go to a bunch of different producers to try to get the show put on Broadway. Yeah, and then yeah, and in this film Kermit ends up befriending like this an owner at a diner, as well as his daughter, and they are trying to help him really get the show put on Broadway. Yeah, and yeah, Kermit really just befriends the daughter, and then Miss Piggy ends up discovering how Kermit is very friendly with the daughter, and yeah, she is feels that like uh, Kermit really is now in love with her rather than in love with the daughter rather than a Miss Piggy. So yeah, yeah, and so yeah, and like I said, there really isn't as much Muppet type of humor in this film as there was in the previous films. And but this film also like did do like some other things. Like there's a segment in this film that has like a scene with the baby Muppets of his. It's in like a fantasy sequence, and of course, like this ended up like spawning the animated Baby Muppets TV series that started in the year this movie came out, and lasted until 1991. But this film really is like really just focused on a Kermit really while trying to get this performance on Broadway and stuff. So so this film is under the direction of Frank Oz this time rather than Jim Henson. So and of course Frank Oz is like one of Jim Henson's like partners. So Frank Oz like took over the direction for this film rather than Jim Henson. So and this was also like the last Muppet film that was made before the death of Jim Henson, as well as the death of Richard Hunt. Who of course was a voice actor for like some of the Muppet characters like Scooter, Janice, Statler, and Beaker. And and just like in the previous Muppet films, once again, like this film really does have several cameos from celebrities in this film. Like this film has cameos from celebrities like Art Carney, Dabney Coleman, Elliot Gould, Gregory Hines, Liza Minnelli, Joan Rivers, and even Mayor Edward I. Koch makes an appearance in this film as well. So once again a full lineup of like celebrity cameos, and of course like in this film, like once like Kermit eventually is able to get the show put on Broadway, like he tries to get all the Muppets back together, but of course like Kermit like ends up just suffering amnesia after like just he was in so much excitement he got like hit by a car and suffered amnesia, and so then once like all the Muppets then get back together, just then after that then like Kermit is just like nowhere to be found, and so then like the Muppets then just all like try to work together to try to find Kermit before the show actually goes on. So they do like give the film another subplot like that once like the show then is like put on Broadway. So it's interesting that they decided to give it like another side story like that, though that doesn't really last very long because Kermit like suffers amnesia in like the last 25 minutes of the film, and then they do like end up like finding him pretty quickly, and then Kermit gets his memory back real fast. So I don't know, me personally I think that probably would have worked better if it like would have happened earlier on in the film and Kermit would have had amnesia for longer and stuff. But I mean, what are we gonna do about it all these years later? So overall, it is a pretty good movie. I would probably give this once again like 3.5 stars out of 4. I mean, it does seem I can appreciate the fact that this really is like trying to like have a different tone from a film to give it like some sadder moments like that, like the moment when they like all go their separate ways, and some like other kind of like sadder moments throughout the film. So so I really don't know what else I can really say about this film. I mean, it's good, and it has like it still does have its share of like Muppet style humor throughout, but it's just like cut down compared to like the previous two films. So so I do think that overall it is a good film and it is worth a watch. So okay, so let me just get into the premise of this film. All right, so as the film opens up, it shows that like the Muppet gang, like Kermit, Miss Piggy, Fozzie, and Gonzo, and a lot of, like the rest of the Muppet gang, And as they're graduating from Danhurst College, they then like put on their like a performance, Manhattan Melodies, to the fellow graduates. And then, yeah, somebody suggested them of taking the show to Broadway. And then, yeah, the Muppets felt that they would become like instant stars, so yeah, they proceeded with that idea. And once they like went to Manhattan, and they tried to talk to a producer by the name of Martin Prince about putting the show on Broadway. And like Martin Prince, who was played by Dabney Coleman, was then revealed to be like a wanted con artist who was actually named Murray Plotsky. And Murray Plotsky, yeah, Plotsky then like tried to like escape from the police by like taking Gonzo and Camellia or Camilla hostage. But then, with the help of Animal, Plotsky ended up like being taken into custody and arrested. That's it. But then, yeah, after that, then like the Muppets like tried to get another producer to put them on Broadway, but yeah, they weren't able to do so. Oh, and then yeah, it was just like really like putting them really. He like really just in a real big bind because yeah, their finances really were going down really quickly, and yeah, they were just like becoming very broke. Okay, and then yeah, after like Kermit like ended up like going like snapping on the rest of the gang, and once they like arrived in a diner or for some food, where Kermit like ended up befriending like the owner, who was also like the chef of the diner, as well as his daughter Jenny. And yeah, the owner's name was Pete, and his daughter was named Jenny. Yeah. Then like the Muppets decided that they would go and pursue new occupations and go their separate ways. So then, yeah, then we had like this segment where the Muppets just all parted ways and just had the song saying goodbye. Yeah, which was, yeah, as I said, probably the saddest moment in Muppet history. Yeah. 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 But yeah, Kermit was still objected to still make the just get the show put on Broadway. And then yeah, he enlisted the help of Pete and Jenny, as well as like the rest of the staff of the diner who that was all a group of rats out were led by Rizzo. Yeah, and then yeah, and then throughout the film, like Kermit was just trying to find like different ways of trying to get like producers to really put his show on Broadway. And like there was this moment where he was like trying to pose as another producer, bragging about like the quality of his musical. Yeah, but yeah, the producer that he spoke to about it just discarded the script. And then yeah, there was another moment where Kermit was trying to pose as a famous playwright. Right, and he had like Rizzo and the other rats like put a caricature or in a Sardi's restaurant, replacing the picture of Liza Minnelli. But then, yeah, Liza Minnelli then like walked in the restaurant and noticed her caricature missing, and then like yeah, the rats were all then like exposed, and then and then yeah, Kermit and the rats just ended up being thrown out of the restaurant. Yeah, and then yeah, there was then a moment where like uh Jenny was trying to really just assure Kermit that somebody would put his show on Broadway eventually, and then yeah, and as Kermit and Jenny were like really like hugging and stuff, like it showed that Miss Piggy was still in Manhattan to watch over Kermit, and then when she saw what happened, like she got really upset about it, and then it showed that Miss Piggy was now like working as like some perfume sampler or something. Yeah, some perfume saleswoman. Yeah, she was like doing some sort of like makeup for perfume or something. And yeah, then there was this funny thing where like her partner, who was played by Joan Rivers, and was like trying to clean her up with makeup and stuff. And then yeah, the two of them then eventually got fired. Yeah, but then yeah, eventually then as a Miss Piggy was just observing some more about like Jenny comforting Kermit. Then like in Central Park, a thief ended up stealing Miss Piggy's purse, and then Miss Piggy was in pursuit of the thief on a pair of rollerblades, and then she gave chase to the thief and took him down, and yeah, he got arrested. And then yeah, Kermit ended up like noticing Miss Piggy chasing after the thief, and then yeah, Kermit and Miss Piggy then like reunited. Yeah, and then yeah, there was like this thing when they were like riding in a horse carriage, and then yeah, Miss Piggy was just talking to Kermit about how it would be if they had known each other since they were little kids, and then yeah, then there was this segment with like all the Muppets being as babies, which of course, like as I said, would like spawn a uh the Baby Muppet animated series, which like as I said, uh started up like the same year this movie was released in 1984. Yeah, I don't know if I actually did say that yet. Yeah, this movie was released in 1984. So yeah, and plus yeah, this was actually like the last Muppet movie to be released for like the next 8 years. Also, yeah, I probably should like bring that up. Yeah, there was another Muppet movie like a theatrical Muppet film made for another 8 years after this film's release. So yeah, but anyway, yeah, getting back to this yeah. Yeah, and then Miss Piggy ended up taking a job at the diner as Kermit was then like receiving some letters from like the other Muppets, telling them about the jobs that they've taken up around the country. And then eventually Kermit then also ended up receiving a letter from another producer by the name of Bernard Crawford, who was played by Art Carney. And uh, yeah, and then Crawford was just telling Kermit that he's interested in the musical. And then as Kermit then like went to see Crawford, it was then revealed that the letter was actually written by his son, Ronnie Crawford. And then, yeah, Ronnie explained that he's like really struggling to prove himself as a producer, and then he then, like tells Kermit that Manhattan Melodies is good. And then, yeah, once Ronnie then told his father Bernard about it, like Bernard was like really hesitant, but then he agreed to fund the show. And then, yeah, Kermit then like he then like as he was just like so happy about the fact that his show was now funded, like he then like was not paying attention to the traffic signals, and then he ended up like walking into oncoming traffic, and then ended up getting struck by a passing car. And then yeah, and then Kermit didn't return to the diner after he told them that the show was going to be on Broadway. And so yeah, then Pete, Miss Piggy, and Jenny then just like were worried that Kermit was missing. And so then yeah, they then like sent messages out to the other Muppets about the show being on, and yeah, they all ended up being summoned to New York. And yeah, Miss Piggy explained to the other Muppets that Kermit was missing. Yeah, and then it was revealed like I guess Kermit was in the hospital, that he is like suffering from amnesia. So then yeah, Kermit then and ended up like just coming across a trio of other frogs named Bill, Gil, and Jill that are working in advertising, and they offered him a job with them. And then yeah, Kermit then just like ended up going by the name of Phil, and so then yeah, and then as the other Muppets were then just searching for Kermit, yeah, they just then were like as time was coming for the play to, as the play was getting closer, because yeah, the Ronnie said that the play would be on in 2 weeks. So then yeah, they were just looking everywhere for Kermit, and then on the day of the play, then like Jill and Ronnie and the all the Muppets, but were then just like very worried about like how the show was gonna work without Kermit. But then yeah, Kermit, Bill, Kill, and Jill ended up like visiting the diner, and then as Kermit was then like playing the opening number of the show with spoons, then like all the Muppets then and like recognized Kermit, and then they brought him to the theater after like Kermit really was still like had no recollection of any of them. And then when Miss Piggy then was just like trying to really jog Kermit's memory, with mentioning that they love each other, Kermit was just laughing at it, and then yeah, Miss Piggy then just ended up like karate chopping Kermit and knocking him across the room, and then that ended up like restoring Kermit's memory, and then Kermit then realized that they need more people for the show. So then yeah, Kermit then like requested that like the other frogs, the dogs, bears, chickens, and others like act in the play as well. And so yeah, then the play then went on, and it like turned out being a success. And then then we like the show then like culminated in like what was planned to be a stage wedding for Kermit and Miss Piggy's characters. And then, yeah, I really like this ending because it had like other Jim Henson characters in this the part right here. Like it showed like the Sesame Street characters were all there. It had Big Bird was there, Ernie and Bert were there, Cookie Monster was there, Harold Grover was there, Oscar was there. So yeah, and even Uncle Traveling Matt from Fraggle Rock, another Jim Henson show, was there as well. So yeah, this would seem like to be the ultimate Jim Henson crossover here, because yeah, he just had like all these Easter eggs with the characters from his other shows being in this scene. So yeah, I mean, I mentioned before how I did like how they had like the Easter eggs with like Big Bird having that cameo in the Muppet movie, and Oscar having the cameo in the Great Muppet Caper. But here, like, you just had a whole bunch of other Jim Henson characters, like the characters from Sesame Street and Uncle Traveling Matt from Fraggle Rock. So yeah, so this was like the ultimate Jim Henson character cameos. Yeah, and yeah, the scene was supposed to play out with Gonzo acting as the minister for this part, but yeah, then like showed like a real minister appeared here for this part, and then I guess like this turned out being like a legit wedding, and Kermit and Miss Piggy ended up getting married. Yeah, and then then like it just like ended by like just like zooming out from Kermit and Miss Piggy, and yeah, it just showed like they were on a moon, and then it just read the end. So yeah. Yeah, so I guess like this was just like something to really just complete the reuniting of the Muppets and stuff, with like a Kermit and Miss Piggy getting back together like that, and them getting married. So yeah, so I guess a good moment for the Muppet fans seeing like Kermit and Miss Piggy finally marrying like that. So yeah, and like I said, that's how it ended. So yeah, like I said, 3.5 stars out of 4. I mean, it is a pretty good movie overall. I mean, it does have like its share of sad moments in it, like when they go their separate ways, and like Kermit suffering from amnesia and all that. But yeah, the story is still definitely very good. But I mean, yeah, it still really does have like what people would want to see from the Muppets, and it really does have like a good setup as a film. So yeah, so as a film overall, just like the Great Muppet Caper, it really just I do like that they really do give it like an actual, make it actually seem like a true film rather than like what the Muppet movie did, which is it be acting as like a story, like the origins of like the Muppets coming together, as I said before. So yeah, and as I said. And after this, like, there wouldn't be another Muppet film for another 8 years. So I'm not really sure why that was, because there was like supposed to be a follow up series after this film, which was like supposed to be like a TV series titled Muppets Live Another Day, that was set after this film's events. That was supposed to be on Disney Plus. But yeah, apparently like it was announced that it was scrapped due to creative differences following like an executive change at the Muppet Studio. So yeah. Yeah, so yeah, apparently like this was just like announced like earlier this year here that it was supposed to be, there was supposed to be like a series set after this film's event on Disney Plus, but yeah, it was just yeah, it was like scrapped just a couple of months ago. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, it was all these years later, so I mean, I guess like it works out for the best. Scene. It works out for the best. It's like that. And I guess since like it's all these years later, so yeah, and plus like with all the stuff, other Muppet stuff that's come out ever since, and plus like, yeah, with the Muppet Show, I guess like that's not really needed. So I guess it's not really a huge deal. So yeah, but yeah, like I said, after this, like there wasn't another Muppet film for another 8 years, which of course was like the two Disney Muppet films that were like the literary adaptations with like Christmas Carol and Treasure Highland, those two films, which I have already talked about. So yeah, but then yeah, but yeah, but yeah, but yeah, it was really strange because yeah, this film was actually done from a TriStar, which of course is a Sony studio, and then yeah, those two films were from Disney. Yeah, and then yeah, the next Muppet film that would follow would also like be back with Sony again. So I don't know if like just it's like Muppets were just like continued to be like under license, or like Jim Henson's uh, characters just like were like under license for different studios at different points. Yeah, I'm not really sure what happened, what the deal is with that, but yeah, the next film that I will be talking about is another film that was from Sony. So I guess yeah, the Muppets like went back under license to Sony after like those two literary adaptations. So yeah, but yeah, the next film I'm going to be talking about is another Muppet film from Sony. So yeah, I'm sure you know which one I'm talking about. So yeah, that one's going to be coming up next. Yeah, but yeah, anyways, but yeah, this one is still really good. So yeah, as I said, 3.5 stars before. Yeah, so yeah, it is definitely worth a watch for Muppet fans out there. So yeah, if you haven't seen it before, check it out. All right, so I guess that's all I can really say about it. So yeah, so this does it for my review of Muppets Take Manhattan. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.